Could you imagine Steph Curry being left this wide open? No single position has transformed more in NBA history than the big man. In the past, 7-footers were just there to dunk, grab rebounds, and block shots, but in the modern day, they can now shoot from 30 feet out, thus evolving into what we know now as stretch bigs. But what really is a stretch big? The general definition in the basketball world is a big man who can catch and shoot threes, in theory stretching or opening up the floor by bringing his defender to the three-point line and not clogging the paint. Well, half of what I just said is completely false. One thing you will notice time and time again is that when these stretch bigs are at the three-point line, the floor actually isn't really opened up, and their defender isn't out there contesting their shot. And that's because, well, it's always a bad shot. And now I know you're like, how can that be true? There's a bunch of big men that can shoot threes. Most stretch bigs aren't the floor spacers we think they are. Now, this is not to say that there aren't any genuine stretch bigs in the league, but part of being a stretch big is the ability to stretch the defense with your shooting gravity. For example, someone like Steph Curry has the shooting gravity as a result of him being such a good shooter that the defense stretches to focus on him, thus creating scoring chances for his teammates. Many NBA fans mix up a 7-footer who's easy to insert as another catch and shoot option with a player who is a true stretch big. So to stretch the floor, your shooting has to be dangerous. Your center that shoots 36% from 3 is not dangerous at all. In fact, the defense will let him shoot those threes because they don't want him driving to the basket, which is actually dangerous. But I'm not hating, let's look at the stats. Don't forget to subscribe so we can make it to 1K and I can stop asking for subscribers, and I added membership stuff as well. Anyway, let's take the current leader in three-point attempts by a big man in Lauri Markkanen, who shoots right at the league average 36% from 3. Surely as an NBA fan, you've heard that 33% from 3 is equal to 50% on 2s. As if you shot 33% on 10 3-pointers, you would end up with 9.9 points, and if you shot 50% on 10 2-pointers, you would end up with 10 points. Basically the same. If we expand the idea to correlate with other higher and lower percentages, we get this chart, showing 3-point percentages and its equivalent 2-point percentage. So Lowry's 36% from 3 would equal to 54% on 2s. The only issue is that he shoots 56% on 2s, meaning he is less efficient on 3s compared to his 2s. To make it simpler, when Lauri Markkanen shoots 100 3s, he scores 108 points off of those shots. But when he shoots 100 2s, he scores 112 points off of those shots. Now, while 4 points is a small discrepancy, he's currently on pace to attempt over 1,000 shots this season. So, it definitely adds up. Former MVP Joel Embiid currently shoots a vomit-inducing 26% on 3s, with more attempts per game now than in his MVP level years. He also shoots a mediocre 54% on 2s. But when Embiid takes 100 3s, he scores 78 points. While when he takes 100 2s, he scores 108 points, being a drastically better scorer when he's not settling for his bad 3s. Toumani Camara shoots below league average on 3s at 34%, but above league average on 2s at 58%, one of the largest disparities you will see, yet he still chucks up over 7 3s a game. As when he takes 100 3s, he scores 102 points, but when he takes 100 2s, 116. 14 points isn't as large of a disparity as I made it seem. But wait a second, over 66% of his shot attempts are 3s. A shot diet more 3-point lopsided than prime Steph Curry. In fact, there has been 40 players in NBA history who have attempted over 7 3-pointers a game, but less than 4 2-pointers a game. A category dominated mostly by elite catch and shoot specialists such as Duncan Robinson, Malik Beasley, and Dante DiVincenzo. Yet Toumani Camara is here, and ranks at 37 out of 40th in 3-point percentage, showing that he attempts way too many for being a below average shooter. But not all large gaps are bad. The best player in the league, Nikola Jokic, shoots a fucking ridiculous 67% on 2s and 43% from 3. While being a massive gap, obviously 43% from 3 is elite, but even this still shows how his 2-point shot is a much better scoring option than his 3-point shot. And one thing I haven't even mentioned yet is the likelihood that a player will get fouled on a 2-point attempt, which is much higher than on a 3-point attempt, drastically boosting the likelihood for any given 2-point attempt to end up in some amount of points being scored. Something that is very interesting is that when it comes to the best shooting big men ever, and I mean MVP level like Dirk, Jokic, and even Embiid, is that they're so talented that their outside shooting is a distant secondary tool. None of them have ever averaged 5 threes a game. because it would genuinely infringe upon how good they are inside the arc. The thing is, while these big men can shoot threes, their team isn't actively setting up plays for them to shoot threes, because they aren't good enough. It's more of a if you end up being wide open or if there's 5 seconds left type of shot. Here's a chart showing where every single big man who attempts at least 2 3-pointers a game lie in 2-point percentage and 3-point percentage. The line of stars is the equivalent percentages we talked about before, while the red star in the middle is the league average from both. So of course, most players are right around the red star, being that they're big men a little to the right because of their increased 2-point percentage. But what you notice early on is that there are some interesting groups and outliers. First, in the top left, we have this group of players who are mostly elite from 3 but terrible on 2s. I would assume they're playing the big on a small ball lineup, as they are all 6'9" or shorter, excluding Miles Turner, who's having a career low from 2. The next group is what I like to call bad from both, as these players are just disappointing from both 2 and 3. What you will notice is that a few of these players are actually shooting a few decimals above league average on 2s, which is good, right? Wrong. They're literally 7 feet tall. Why are you shooting the league average, which includes short guards, on 2s? The best section is the top right, where these players are way above average on 2s and 3s. You can probably guess who this absurd star is. He's first in 2-point percentage and 4th in 3-point percentage, and he plays in Denver. Take a second to like and subscribe, and guess where your favorite big man is at in the comments. The players below the white line, though, are better when they take 2s rather than when they take their 3s. While above the white line, these players score better taking 3s rather than when they take their 2s. And here are some notable NBA players in this chart, such as Jokic, Cat, Şengün, Embiid, Bobby Portis, Miles Turner, Paolo Banchero, Chet, and Wemby. And here is the Wizards' Tristan Vukovic, who's shooting an impressive 20% from 3. And the Nuggets' Deron Holmes, who's shooting almost the same percent on 3s and 2s, which is certainly unique. In my opinion, shooting over 40% actually qualifies you as a stretch big. Even then, it doesn't mean that they should settle for 3s when they have a height advantage over most players. To summarize, it's not that all big men are bad 3-point shooters, but that most are so good at shooting 2s that it doesn't make sense for them to take so many 3s because it is a statistically worse shot for them. Having a big man that can shoot is a good safety release to turn a bad play into a good opportunity, but it is more so to say that many of these bigs should shoot less 3-pointers instead of more, because more is what the defense wants them to do, as these 7-footers end up leaving more points 23 feet and 9 inches away rather than in the basket. This is Gadefilms. Like, comment, subscribe, and stay fantastic.